All right, let's talk about the MVP, almost certainly the guy who's going to win MVP, Lamar Jackson, going up against a good Chiefs defense. Should be a very interesting matchup. Should mention, I already made a video on the other side of the ball. Mahomes going up against the Ravens defense. Again, great matchups across the board here, which makes sense. It's a conference championship game. Should be good matchups. So yeah, check that one out if you want to, but you can watch these out of order as well. It would spoil my predictions because my predictions at the end would give away who I have winning in this video. But other than that, you can watch them out of order if you want. Let's just get into the predictions for this side of the ball. So first, this chart. This is where each team has ranked in specific positional categories. Again, PFF not crazy about the Kansas City coverage unit, although they've been impressed with the Kansas City corners, which I think might be why there's a bit of a disparity there between how well the Chiefs coverage unit has looked versus how well it's graded. Because again, a linebacker counts just as much as a corner, but obviously a corner doing a better job matters more, that kind of stuff. I noticed there have been some safety, not great grades for Kansas City, but regardless, for Baltimore, 6th best passing this year, and that's not meaning 6th best quarterback. That just means Lamar's passing itself 6th best in football this year, and receiving has been solid, 13th best. So again, PFF has it as a mismatch in Baltimore's favor. I don't quite know if it's that simple, but we'll get into it in the film in just a second. Pass blocking, though, definitely in Baltimore's favor. Kansas City's, they have some guys. It's not a bad pass rushing unit by any means, but still really good offensive line. And when you factor in Lamar being so difficult to, take down, that you basically have to be playing run defense on passing plays, like it's nearly impossible to get to him. And also, the thing that's definitely got to scare you if you're a Chiefs fan is the run defense here. 21st run defense for Kansas City, which isn't abysmal, but going up against Baltimore with the 8th best run blocking and 5th best pure rushing, and again, some of these plays they'll have an extra blocker because Lamar will be running. That's concerning, right? And we all talk about the Ravens running game, although I should mention the Ravens don't necessarily run the ball as often as you might think. If you look at Baltimore's pass frequency over expected this season, you see that they're actually right at expected. They're league average in passing versus rushing. Now, there's a couple of scenarios where they are different than the pack. For one thing, they throw the ball a lot more after a rush on first down, a lot more than the average team does. Also, they run the ball a ton on 3rd down and 1 or 2. 3rd down and 1 or 2, they're almost always running the ball. So those short yardage situations, they do run it a lot more than average, but if you take those situations out, they actually throw the ball a little bit more than average, which is just interesting to note. But let's get into some film. I want to talk about, scheme here. I want to talk about man versus zone. So the Chiefs, kind of for the longest time, have been known for being a good man coverage team that struggles in zone. That's what they're known for. But I don't know if that's exactly true as of right now. Like, for example, this play, it's going to be zone coverage for Buffalo. And what they're going to do is they're going to run a play action and have a tight end go over the middle. However, when Josh Allen takes the snap, he looks, and you see that route is completely cleared, completely covered up. Like, Allen cannot throw it there. He looks down the field, but doesn't love what he sees there either. So instead, Allen's going to take off and try and run, which we'll certainly see Lamar try and do, and Kansas City has it covered up. Like, listen, I think Lamar is probably a better runner than Allen, although Allen is still great himself. But still, if you can cover it up like that, you can have two guys, like, only so much you can do. So Allen had to slide there. That's definitely something that is interesting, is can they cover up those play action plays for Kansas City? And then now you have, if you're in zone, every player on the field is looking at Lamar Jackson, so you're aware of potential rush. Of course, I think Kansas City is going to play some man. They're going to mix things up. They like to play both. I think they'll go into the game trying to play both. And in a situation like this, one-on-one matchup on the outside. Historically, really, it's been a disaster when you play man coverage against the Ravens. That's historically what's happened because the Ravens didn't have receivers, right? So Lamar can try and run and pick up yards that way, but that's pretty much all the options they had. However, on this one, when Josh Allen takes the snap, you're going to see him fire down the field, and okay, there's a little bit of a window right here. And for the Ravens, they've had guys be able to generate windows this season. They've had guys come in and do a decent job, at man when they're going up against man coverage. And so the Ravens have had a much more complete offense. If you look at different guys when they're playing, in man versus in zone, it's actually really fascinating where they have several guys who are good at different things. So Zay Flowers, for example, again, just to talk about what the chart is, Zay Flowers, we'll use him as the example. The first row is yards per route ran in man coverage, then PFF grade in man coverage, and then third one over, yards per route ran in zone, and then finally PFF grade in zone. So for Flowers, little better yards per route ran in zone, although PFF grades are pretty similar. But Odell has, he's been good across the board, but much better when it's man. And I do wonder if we've kind of waited for Odell to have that breakout game. I wonder if he'll have some opportunities here. In fact, I think he might. But again, can he win against L'Jarius Sneed? It's interesting to me. But I actually think Mark Andrews could be a key figure here. So Mark Andrews, again, 2.32 yards per route ran against zone, by far the Ravens' best, but we don't even know if he's going to be playing. He's missed time due to injury. It seemed like he was possible to play against Houston. In this game, again, if he's 50%, I think they're going to throw him out there, right? It's to go to the Super Bowl. You're going to do whatever you can to try and make it happen. And I do think I could see Kansas City playing some zone coverage in this game, and maybe Andrews finding those soft spots over the middle could be really crucial. Rashad Bateman, another guy who's done a little better versus zone. And then for man, it's actually Nelson Aguilar's done a good job, and Isaiah Likely's done a great job against man. So I think that he would be out there a decent amount if Kansas City is playing man. I think Andrews and Likely would probably be out there a decent amount in this game if they both can. So it's, again, the whole point of the Ravens this season was become a more complete offense. And you have guys who are, great against zone, like Mark Andrews, and, Zay Flowers and Beckham are really good against zone. But you also have guys who can beat man. Isaiah Likely, Nelson Aguilar, and Odell Beckham Jr. have all done really good jobs against man this season. So for Kansas City, it is a bit of a pick your poison, and I do wonder if they play zone and Andrews isn't healthy, is that the poison to pick? But also going over to the running game, I think that's also definitely worth talking about here. So something like this, where you can double team, an interior defensive lineman for the Chiefs. Someone's going to get off the double team and try to block Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton, really good defensive linebacker for Kansas City. And again, on this play, Kansas City has two safeties deep, which is part of why I'm showing this play, because, for Baltimore, what essentially they do when they have Lamar run with the football, or just have Lamar fake as though he's running with the football, which can still take away a blocker, is it means that instead of having a scenario where you have, the typical 9 blockers you get offensively, you get a 10th blocker. Meaning that if you play one safety deep, well, then there's a guy to block everybody. So someone has to get around a blocker. That's what has to happen. Watch as you're going to see Nick Bolton. He, right here is looking to get around the tackle, and that's, doing a really good job. So, okay, good job by him getting around Dawkins. However, when he does get around, he also doesn't make the tackle, which, listen, I'm not showing this to say, oh, Nick Bolton sucks at tackling. No, he's a good tackler. But also, it's Lamar Jackson. Not so easy to tackle. And even if it isn't Lamar Jackson, the halfbacks aren't exactly scrubs there either, although, again, Lamar Jackson's clearly the guy. So they're going to have guys win one-on-one matchups in that situation. Kansas City is, and they're going to have to make the tackle. But honestly, even if they do that, Lamar's a different animal. Something like this is just, again, what makes this Ravens team so deadly is they're going to fake a handoff to the right, but then Lamar's going to keep it himself and go towards the top of the screen. And watch how badly he fools everybody. I mean, look at how good of a play call this is and how much they get Houston out of position to where, again, they have a blocker for everybody. So for Kansas City, you have to be aware of this stuff, and you're probably going to get beat at times, but also you have to be able to win your one-on-one blocks. But it's so hard because this Ravens unit blocks so well. So I do think the Ravens, at the very least, regardless of man versus zone, whatever, they should be able to run the ball effectively in this game, and I do think they'll be able to ultimately find a way to move the ball down the field. I don't know if it'll be amazing perfectly every single time, because the Chiefs defense is very good, but I think they'll be able to move the ball effectively. So predictions time. You see that, again, it's great on great here. It really is. I mean, the Ravens' offensive points per drive on the season is 2.48, which is one of the better offensive points per drives, of the season. It's fantastic. The Chiefs have one of the better defensive points per drive on the season, 1.58. So good on good. But like I said, kind of like the matchup for Baltimore a little bit. I am going to go 2.1 points per drive. That is my prediction Meaning my final score prediction, Ravens 21, Chiefs 17. I'm predicting a lower scoring game, but also 10 possessions. So I'm predicting a lower possession game as well, given the way these two teams play. That feels right for me. I do think, again, turnovers, I didn't even bring up turnovers in either of these videos, but that's obviously a factor. If you can protect the football, that could go a long way. If you can't protect the football, I think that would be enough to flip the game the other way. Again, I think it's a one-score game. I think it's going to be close, but given what the Ravens have done all season, I do have to give them the edge. That being said, I've literally picked against the Chiefs twice already in this postseason run and been burned both times. So if you're a Chiefs fan, you might be happy that I'm picking against you again, because maybe that's good luck. And like I said, in both of those games, could I see the Chiefs pulling off the, first game wasn't an upset. I was just stupid. But, both times I said that, hey, Chiefs could absolutely win this game. It'd be a fool to count them out. And maybe I'm a fool, but I'm not counting them out, but I am predicting Baltimore to win. But again, this is what I think is the most likely outcome. Does not mean it is what I think will for sure happen or anything like that. But those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.